NVJ.
Hello out there, and welcome to the 150th edition of the Michael vs. Jason Horrorcast, where we love to bicker, argue, and debate all things horror. Mainly one movie chosen at the end of each episode by the Devil's Wheel, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And this week, finally, the great Jason, who went 3-0 to kick off the year, was finally defeated. It was not me. Kirk came through and took us to 1999 here for a movie that I think there's going to be some debate about today. But we're talking a little Johnny Depp. We're talking a little Devil. And apparently Kirk loves nines because we're doing the Ninth Gate here, which, like I said, is from 1999. So spoiler alert. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, we are going to ruin the shit out of this, but it is now 25 years old. So if you haven't watched it, probably weren't going to at this point in time, but stay tuned for that. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and joining me, members 2 and 3, Jason and Kirk. What's going on, gentlemen?
What is
hello,
up?
Hello, how's everyone?
And
Can't do my Italian intro this time. So
there's no buongiorno. Buongiorno.
no, buongiorno.
No, I mean, there are some different places that
Paris, Spain.
Yeah, it's all over the place, and we appreciate
France.
We appreciate Jason. Very under the weather today.
Hold on. Jason, you know Paris is in France, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Just making sure. Keep going.
Let's not talk about geography with Jason. Completely different podcast, but just as entertaining. I can assure you.
Yes, we'd have a good time with that.
I can assure you that much. But yes, we will be getting to all things Ninth Gate, rating, reviewing, a wonderful plot synopsis coming from Kirk here shortly. But
30 seconds.
As we always like to start the show.
All right, it is Pardon the Terror time, and it is the beginning of February. It is the first recording in February, so you know what that means? That means coming soon. That means streaming. That means documentaries. That means anything in horror that we see coming in February, what we're excited about, what we're going to go around the horn, what we're seeing that's coming out. This always helps me because I need movies to watch and helps me investigate, so I love it. So I'll kick one off that I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know if it's my number one, but it's still in that January, February timeframe where not the greatest. But hey, with us just doing what was the Dario Argento movie we just did? Dario Argento's Panico, which is a documentary about his time in movies. Yeah, it came out February 2nd, so it is already out and going. So if you liked Phenomena, which a lot of people do, actually. This is a day in the life of Dario Argento, so you can kind of see where the magician waves his wand.
And it's on Shudder, so low barrier of entry. You don't have to pay if you hopefully if you're listening to this, you already have Shudder. If not, what are you doing? But yeah, it's on Shudder, so that's good.
So that's one that kind of really stuck.
Excited.
Yeah, there are movies out, but I thought that kind of stuck out because we just did a Dario Argento movie, so I thought it was a good shout out. But Mike, what are you looking for? What kind of sparks your interest?
Well, I want to talk first just two things that are coming to streaming this month. Well,
Sure,
one's
either.
already out and one's coming out. So the coming to Prime, we talked about it a lot at the end of last year. Dark Harvest is coming to Prime, and if you haven't,
it's coming to Prime.
It is.
That's
if
good.
you haven't watched this, it might be out already. I did not search for it, but I know it's coming this month. If you didn't get a chance to watch Dark Harvest, I still think Halloween time is the best time for this, but let's face facts. January is a very slow month, and if you are missing that Halloween horror, it's a great movie. It made all our top 10 lists, I think, last year. So it's definitely worth a watch. And then one of my personal favorites, Midsommar, hit HBO. It was actually on the other
did.
nights. And
I caught the tail end of it.
Kirk and I might have watched some of it separately, but yes, it's a fun film, but it's always hitting the streaming channels all across the board. But if you're looking for it this month, Max is where it's at. But Jay, what anything jump out to you?
Yeah, I got a couple, but I'm just gonna say I think it'd be smart for me to stay away from Midsommar.
No more COVID. That was our COVID podcast. For those that I don't remember what I think it was in the 20s, but we all got COVID during that podcast, and
yeah, so I just can't watch that movie ever again. But so there's one coming out this month that I'm excited about. I'm hoping to hit streaming right away. I'm kind of curious on it. The first one sucked ass, but I got to check out Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey Part 2.
That comes out this
no, that's not coming out this month. That comes out later in the year from what I was reading. But the trailer is supposed to come out this month.
The trailer came out today. I watched it. And the movie releases in either Australia or Japan or something like that in 2 weeks.
We're taking a trip to Japan. Let's go.
Japan.
And then
Konnichiwa.
And then it said, and Mike, I know you're going to be like, we should have waited till next month. But then it said that I think it's supposed to hit full streaming by March 2nd. But go ahead.
Listen, if it's hitting...
But it is coming out.
We have listeners all over the world, so maybe it's coming out in a city near you. But for those in the United States where we reside, we'll talk about it again next month, I'm sure.
Yeah. And the last one I have on here is comes out February 9th. It's Lisa Frankenstein.
So that was coming to theaters. So Lisa Frankenstein is Catherine Newton, who was from Freaky and a lot of different things. She's a star. And then Dylan Sprouse, I think it is.
Sprouse,
I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a Frankenstein, you know.
It's supposed to be like a romantic comedy horror type thing or whatever. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Young Frankenstein, it looks like, from back in the 70s, 80s or something like that. So I think this is like maybe a modern day version with a female Frankenstein compared to Young Frankenstein.
This looks,
that comes out February 9th, right?
Yeah,
this
one looks like more of a comedy, you know, high schoolish
comedy, romantic.
Like I said, it's got Dylan Sprouse as one of the stars. Like it's I don't think it's going to be over the top of horror. This is going to be more of the what was the movie that just hit Prime at the end of last year? The time travel one that was the girl went back to the Totally Killer. It seems like it'll be in like that vein. You know, type.
But you really like that movie. You really like.
I thought it was good. This one, who knows? Like, I'll end up probably catching this at some point. I'm not going to the theater to see Lisa Frankenstein. No. I can.
No, it'll be on streaming probably a week and a half, 2 weeks after it hits the theater. So you know how that works.
A couple other movies.
Low budget.
Baghead. Did anybody bring up Baghead yet?
No.
That's coming out February
Not yet.
8th.
I have it written down though.
Yeah, and then the Omicron Killer, February 22nd.
So when's Baghead coming out? What is that?
February 8th.
What is the premise of that movie? Do we know?
So I watched a trailer and I don't know if I'm anywhere close to fully understanding it, but it looked kind of interesting. The villain or the monster that has the bag on, it looks creative. I don't know if I understand it yet.
Gotcha.
So I kind of dug that premise of it.
I saw there's a new anthology coming out on February 13th. It's called the Midnight Peep Show. And it's hitting streaming.
Wrong podcast, buddy.
It's a horror.
It's a
horror anthology. Your brains just go to weird places. But one of the people in one of the films is Zach Galligan from Gremlins fame. So he's in it. I didn't see too many names that I knew, but it's coming out the day before Valentine's Day. So
yeah, and one other one for February 23rd. It's Stop Motion.
I saw that.
Yeah, the poster looks cool. It's probably one of those that the poster's cool and the movie sucks, but it had like one of those puppets. I can't say the word.
Jay. It starts with a van.
Ventriloquist dummy. All right.
you were trying to start the word with Traquilicus, and that will never. It's ventriloquist.
Yes, but it looked like one of those puppets.
Ventriloquist.
We're
Yes,
We're gonna blame it on the
ventriloquist.
NyQuil.
Yep.
I
Hey, but I got the
Robitussin.
synopsis of Baghead if you want me to read it real quick.
I guess.
Yeah, we got to figure out. It's got that Freya Allen in it. She's from Witcher on Netflix. If you watch the Witcher series, she was on that. But a young woman inherits a rundown pub, discovered a dark secret within its basement. Sounds about 1 million of movies. Baghead, a shape-shifting creature that will let you speak to lost loved ones, but not without consequences. So I thought that looked interesting. It was kind of hard to follow on the trailer. And I recognized the girl from Witcher because I watched the first 2 seasons of Witcher.
I heard there's a sequel coming straight out called Sandwich Face.
Oh,
it's a bag.
That was
You get a PB&J.
such a terrible joke.
Like Mike's face looked instantly disappointed. Like it wasn't even like it was a bad joke. Like he was a disappointed.
It's not even that I was expecting good. I was just expecting something like that. You like if I had a tomato, I would throw it at your face right now.
So I made a rotten tomato. All right.
Oh boy.
Hey.
That was better than the other joke I get. But another one that's coming out this month. If you guys saw, it's Lovely, Dark, and Deep. It comes out on February 22nd. This is a like in the woods, people are out there and like the forces of nature it's the folklore.
That's cool.
So that one's coming out. And then to end the month, I saw that there was one. I'll end up watching it because it looks like it's the camp slasher. It's called Camp Pleasant Lake. Yeah. You see who who the star of this movie is? The guy's like Lip Nicky. He was the kid from I think Jerry Maguire, wasn't he?
Oh yes.
Really?
The one with the glasses.
Yeah. Apparently, I won't say
Jonathan
Spiked hair and the glasses.
Jonathan Lip Nicky,
Yeah,
and then the lady who was the nun plays in it too.
From the nun.
Aarons. The
Bonnie.
nun. Isn't that Bonnie Aarons? And that's her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, but I saw his name, and that's how I know it's not going to be good. But
Andrew Divinoff is in it though.
Oh wow, I don't even know who that is.
Ooh, the Wishmaster.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who that was.
He's the Wishmaster.
The Wishmaster, yep. He was great in the Wishmaster.
Okay,
too.
the Wishmaster was 30
he
years ago.
was.
What is
So he's probably only
Well,
gotten
the
better with
second
time.
one was less than that.
25?
Let's go with that.
But
Interesting casting.
January's
I'm kinda
not
thrown off
like
by Lipnick.
January's not the greatest month when it
Or
comes
February.
to
Or February.
or February. I'm sorry, it's February. Yes, February is as bad as January when it comes to. I thought we get maybe some kind of Valentine's Day slash or something, but
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah,
but
we haven't had like a Cupid killer.
we're
in a
getting
long
Lisa
time.
Frankenstein instead.
yeah, I guess that's
Yeah. I mean, it's romantic, so I guess that kind of falls in that.
Yeah, but I think of like in years past, at the beginning of the year, we got the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we got Scream, we got some of these movies, and I feel like to kick off this year, there's really just not a whole lot
It's been rough.
that's out there. Nothing's really hit the movie theaters that have been worth watching. Come on, Hollywood.
That's why they relaunched Godzilla. That's why they relaunched Godzilla, because they're like, there's nothing out there. Let's put it out again in black and white.
Yeah, they're putting a bunch of stuff back out just for like
Content.
I mean, I remember last year we at least got Scream, at the end of January.
Yeah.
So at least
I
gave
mean,
us something.
I think we're kind of really feeling the effects of the actors strike.
Yeah,
now,
everything got
because
pushed back a little bit.
Yes.
Yep, you don't feel it during the strike. You feel it kind of a little bit after. So
Yeah,
and
you're
horror
right on
probably gets it worse downstream.
that. Oh yeah, easily.
Well, anything else you guys want to discuss for the excitement? And there's a leap day this year, so February is one day
You
longer.
got an extra day.
It's 366 days this year.
Yes. I don't know what you want to discuss. All I know is for once this week, I don't have to put a time.
We're not making Jason do this one too. I mean, he just
Kirk, I
just,
have
so
popcorn
great.
waiting to hear your synopsis. And why?
Yeah.
Why push it off any longer? Let's hit the main feature.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome back, and as previously discussed, Kirk got his first victory of the year on the board and decided to take us to 1999 for the Johnny Depp led film The Ninth Gate. And Kirk, before we can get into anything about this movie, I can't remember how we like to start this off.
Oh, the next word's out of your mouth?
Dean Corso, a book dealer, a sleazy book dealer, gets wrapped into a whodunit and what is he looking for investigation in 3 books of the 9 gates of, don't remember the ending of that title of the book. So he goes around the country and other countries investigating the 3 books. People start dying around him, so there's a little bit behind the scenes you don't fully understand until it all comes together in a pretty crazy ending with orgies and strangulations and damn it and burning and that was like 25 seconds. I'm pretty sure
it was.
No, that was 30.
It was definitely. It felt like 47 seconds, really. And there's not an orgy. That's a lie.
They were trying to get the orgy. That was
there was a crowd of people.
For.
There was not.
Yeah,
I can't help it that Boris Balkan interrupted the orgy. It was going to happen.
I didn't see it.
You guys didn't pay attention to the movie. I think he fell asleep. So you know what time that means it is. Hit that beautiful bell.
Yes.
Just keep it moving on.
Behind the Scream.
Okay, Ninth Gate is a 1999 neo-noir mystery thriller film directed, produced, and co-written by Roman Polanski. An international co-production between the United States, Portugal, France, and Spain. The film is loosely based upon Arturo Pérez Reverte's 1993 novel, The Club Dumas. The film stars Johnny Depp as a dealer of rare books who was tasked by authenticating a 17th century book that purposely contains a magical secret for summoning the devil. The premiere showing was at San Sebastian, Spain on 25th of August, 1999, a month before the 47th San Sebastian International Film Festival. Though critically and commercially unsuccessful in North America, shocker, where reviews compared it, unfortunately, with Polanski's supernatural film Rosemary's Baby, The Ninth Gate earned a worldwide gross of $58.4 million against a $38 million budget. It has since been described as a cult classic. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 43% based on reviews from 94 critics, with an average rating of 5 out of 10, and IMDb gave the film a 6.7. There are 7 total deaths in this movie. Can you guess them?
No,
I can't either.
I cannot guess them.
What do you mean you can't guess them? They were like blatantly obvious. It only happened 7 times.
Blatantly obvious? Oh well,
I just remember a guy
hung upside down.
4 or 5. Yeah,
The guy hanging himself. The guy hanging upside down. The guy in the pond. The Baroness that got strangled.
That's 4.
The wife that got strangled.
Oh yeah, the guy got on fire.
Balkan who lit himself on fire.
That's 6.
I can't remember the 7th, but I know it's in there. Oh, the blonde hair black guy he beat him with his shoe.
Did he die?
Yeah, because that's what she said. After he died, she goes, "Oh, I didn't know you had it in you."
I just thought that was fighting back. Well,
knowing Johnny Depp, that's probably a good assumption.
I guess. Any facts this week out there?
Yeah, so just a couple here for you. So Johnny Depp, he normally wants $10 million to do a film. He actually declined it this time because he really wanted to work with Roman Polanski. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. The keypad combo for Balkan's Penthouse was 666. And The Nine Gates is a fictional book, obviously, written for this movie.
Yep. So a couple others I have. So one, Johnny Depp's character actually goes through and experiences all 9 images of the drawings, the etchings. He experiences all 9 etchings throughout the movie. So he was the selected one from the beginning. So I thought that was pretty cool. They put him in different situations to where he had to go through the actual journey. And then bringing up Roman Polanski, I figured that's a good time to talk about his infamous life, right? So the infamous writer-director that everybody loves, he was married to Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate is very famous for the Manson murders. That was his child, that Charles Manson and well, I guess it was just the family that killed. And then also 7 years later, he was arrested for drugging and sexually abusing a 12-year-old, which then he fled to Europe, and he's still living there to this day. So he's.
And I got one more for you on the
Oh,
Polanski.
I didn't. Sick,
I got one more for you on the Polanski.
Bring it.
The girl in this movie, the blonde girl, the famous ending. That's his current wife in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Emmanuel Sager?
Yeah, because when I was reading through the things, it said Roman's wife. So
Yeah.
That's interesting. You could tell her acting was you could tell she was married to Roman Polanski.
She was all right, but
she was fine.
Guess everybody was married to Roman Polanski then.
Yeah.
So
scary.
Here at the MVJ Horrorcast, we like to use a 1 to 10 rating scale, with 1 being the worst that you could do and 10 being it's amazing. And we like to rate based on 5 different acts or categories, if you will. So Act 1 we'll jump right into, and it's story beats. And Kirk, what does story beats mean?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty obvious, but it's anything having to do with the story, the concept, the writing, just all the little nitpicky things that bug you through the story that you love through the story. Yeah, especially in the third act or the second act or first act. It's just all things with the story beat. So,
all right. Well, Kirk, it is your movie, so you get to lead us off here. The story. What'd you think?
I got a feeling these two are about to jump all in my throat because this is my movie, and I feel like I should be defensive, but I'm not. But it's kind of a whodunit. It's kind of an investigation type movie. It's a slow start. It's a slow unravel, right? So, it's a slow burn, right? It's a man trying to investigate a couple books, and they're trying to pepper it out with a few murders in there, but it's slow, right? So it's a thought provoking movie. You're kind of wanting to know where it leads. That's what gets you into it. The deaths in it sometimes are a surprise. Like I love the death where he gets bonked on the head in the Baroness's place, and then she's like strangled in the corner of the big. I thought that was neat. But overall, it's pretty slow. I find this story interesting because I like the concept of digging into history and bringing in this unknown knowledge from before, anything that has to go back in time. The National Treasures movie, even. I really kind of like that type of stuff. And this is kind of that light, kind of more of a slow investigation, slow burn to it.
Yeah. I get I don't even know if it's a slow burn. This is more of an adventure movie. This is like a treasure
Indiana
hunt.
Jones.
Yeah, it's like Indiana. It's like a treasure hunt throughout this movie.
He's hunting down MacGuffins and discovering what the MacGuffin tells him about the story. So a MacGuffin is just a thing that you have to go find in a movie. It's a fetch quest. So he's out there doing fetch quest. That's a video game term, to find one book and then the other book and try to get these people to work with him. So
I have problems with. I have problems with a couple things here, but for this being like this special book, I mean, they do not really take great, like they're always smoking ashes over it. Just I mean, it's all over the. I mean, you think, I don't know, like you think it would be more handled with care on this book, because the whole movie is based around the book, right. And
$1 million book,
at least
They're
$1 million,
worth like $1 million
book, but it's worth way more than that if you can summon the devil and have immortality or whatever. We don't even know what the fuck really happens if something works, because they don't.
It has an ambiguous
anything.
ending.
Yeah, I think personally, I would have had more enjoyment if it was called Dean Corso Book Detective.
That would have made it better.
I think so, just because it would have, me personally, it was a very slow burn for me. It was very slow. But it was involved. I mean, it was a book detective. I think, the story was very simple. I just wish that it was weird. I just wish they would have done a lot more, like, with like any kind of like horror element to it. I think it was more like like Mike said, like a mystery action adventure.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a National Treasure. I brought up National Treasure. It's that same thing, hunting down the history stuff. But this was, he knew exactly where his items were. He was looking for them. I felt like the story was kind of slow because he does have to go through the 9 gates. So each story beat in there is another page from the book, the right page, the LCF. So each of the images. So to kind of give you a description, so there's 3 books. They each have 9 images. Each book contains 3 images.
Yeah, that are actual Lucifer. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole part.
Lucifer
that's the point of the movie.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the movie. You need to collect all 3 from all 3 books. Everybody's very private in their books. But in the actual drawings, there are connections to every story beat that Dean Corso
which is something cool that they do. My problem,
which slows down if you're not following.
My problem though is, let's get to the third act. At the end, like that weird everybody seance scene, and it's the wife, but like they're all just like, they cower. Like the one main guy, I can't think of his name, Balkan, right?
Balkan.
He walks in, nobody does anything. They don't care. Like it's just weird. And then like there's no payoff there. And then you get to like,
you get to strangle out that chick.
Yeah, but that's not a payoff.
She was like the villain.
She's a villain for like 8 minutes of the movie. And like she's not really the villain of the movie. And then Johnny Depp like loses Balkan. He's a day behind, but yet he still catches up to him. To do all this stuff
because the incorrect 9th page gave him a time.
No, he was still setting up to. The guy didn't know it was incorrect 9th page. He was still setting up, and he's like, "Oh, you just happened to catch me." No, he didn't know.
But that the ninth document gave you the time in which you were supposed to go to the 9th gate, to the castle.
I just think the whole thing at the end is just so like.
You see, this is the problem right here. Nobody knows what the fuck was going on in this thing.
It's a movie that if you like it, you have to rewatch it, like to follow it. Like for sure, it is deeper than just one watching. That being said, I understand where it's slow in points where people will not like it. They want something with everybody's Twitter brain. Like they want action, fast, and going, and that's not this movie. It's just not.
Okay, I'm just going to say real quick, I will say in that third act, I did like how it ended with them showing the page with that girl's face.
Yeah.
On that
There's
was
a couple times
cool.
they do that.
Listen, I like one thing about the third act. Kirk, I'm going to come to you first. It's your movie. You can rate it if you want to. Where are you putting the story beats?
Yeah, so I mean, it has a slow nature to the movie. I like more action filled. I love the story. It just, you have to be in the mood to go through it. I gave it a 6 out of 10 because I think it's a touch above average for me. 6 out of 10.
So, Jay, I'm going to come to you next, but before I come to you, Kirk.
It's more of a horror movie than Spring.
You cannot say that in any way, shape, or form. Everything you bashed last week, you literally
summoning the devil. One
She's
person died in Spring.
Monster last week.
She's a monster last week.
Monster. I just want to point out the hypocritical nature because I knew it was coming. She has
DNA. She has DNA of other things. She's not a monster.
Sure.
He's summoning the devil. They kill 7 people. There's a woman who floats down the stairs.
I would love, please, for our longtime listeners on any of our mediums, reach out and give us on a 1 to 10 scale how big is Kirk a hypocrite. 1 is he's not a hypocrite. 10 he is. I'm going with the 27. So
I'm going with a 30.
Jay, where are you?
There was one. Mine has 7x the deaths. 7 times the deaths.
Cool.
You are relying on bunny
100
rabbits
deaths.
and cats.
Cool. That doesn't.
There's 100 deaths in Indiana Jones. So
anyway, deaths are not created equal. But yes, go ahead, yes. Jay. Where are you ranking this one?
I rated this 3 for me because it was, like I said, it was extremely slow. It was boring. Believe it or not, it was a pauser for me. I probably paused. It took me 2 days to get through this. It was just no fun.
So I'm a 5. I actually, the story is actually kind of fun, right? It's like this adventure story, and if I'm rating it on that, I really don't take off for it not being horror, like some people have done at some ones.
Way more.
But
way more.
But the ending and the fact that, like I said, I sat through 2 hours and 15 minutes and I have no payoff at the end. I was really disappointed on that, and I really knocked it down for that. So that's where it comes for a 5 out of me. But I'm close, I guess, to Kirk on this one.
Yep.
So that takes us to act number 2. And this one is what we like to call the arc. And the arc stands for acting, relatability, and character development. Not much more needs to be said there. Jay, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think about the arc?
So, I mean, for me, I felt the acting in this was decent, not really memorable for me. Honestly, if you watch Johnny Depp's character throughout this movie, I think he's even bored. It just doesn't. I don't think anything really spoke to me in this movie. Like I didn't find anybody that did like this incredible, like zealous, like acting skills, anything like that. So that was kind of low for me. Nothing was relatable. Obviously, it's more fiction. The character development I felt was very underdeveloped. It's very predictable, weird, boring. I don't know.
I don't disagree at times. I think Johnny Depp actually did very good. I like the quirkiness of him, and Johnny Depp is being Johnny Depp, how he is in a lot of different movies, especially around that time. When I think of like the what was the
Jack Sparrow?
The Jack Sparrow, but what's the one, the drug-filled movie?
Fear and Loathing.
Oh, Fear and Loathing,
like
Las Vegas.
Same time frame.
Like those are like the type of like characters that he portrayed, and I think he does that here. I almost feel like it was written for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In this, and I think Frank Langella, I don't know.
Langella.
Boris Balkan, the main villain.
I think he does. I like his character. I like him in movies. Everybody else is honestly, except for Emmanuel, who plays just the girl, like everybody else is kind of fodder. But I think the acting's actually just fine. I think it's the relatability and the character development. You know, we get a gauge that Dean Corso, right, is good at his job, and he's, kind of a manipulator, and, but he's sought out. We get that kind of development. Outside of that, we don't know why nobody likes Balkan. We don't know why. They just don't give us anything. And in 2 hours and 15 minutes, how do you not do something? You know what I mean? Like that irked me a little bit. I don't know. Like, that's just how I felt. But
yeah, so Dean Corso, Johnny Depp, he did his Johnny Depp thing. This is, I think, the strength of his career before he went all Jack Sparrow and everything. I think Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one was good, then it was downhill from there. But this was kind of his character. That was his niche. Like you said, this felt like a part written for him. So I 100% agree with you on that. Frank Langella, Boris Balkan, the main guy, I thought he was excellent. I thought Langella. I thought he was intimidating when he came in, and that was the character he wrote for it. You felt like he truly believed the words that he was saying, so I dug him, even though I had a hard time hearing him at times over the phone. But I agree, everybody else wasn't amazing. They were kind of like fodder. I did like the Baroness Kessler. I thought she was you have 30 seconds with her, so she's not in it very well. She had a sparky attitude to her, so I really dug her character. But no one else really had a character, right? They were just reading lines over the person, like Leanna Olin. Is that how you say her name?
Lena Olin.
Lena Olin. She just annoyed me. Emmanuel Siegner. I thought she was weird at first, but I think that's how they were trying to write her, as being kind of weird.
But she's also French, and like she had the strong French accent, and it made you think, oh, she can't act. But no, that's just, she's been in a lot of shit. I mean, a lot of shit. Yep. It's just that's just a strong accent, and most of her stuff is French. I also think that's how that character was written too, to kind of give you this: is she a demon? Is she working for Boris? Like, to kind of keep you questioning through the movie. Yeah, but they had her eyes like light up, and she's flying down the stairs, so she's not a normal person. Weird. But they never address it. They literally never address it, which goes back to
they leave a lot of it ambiguous.
I think they kind of do, at the end, with having her picture in the book. Obviously, she I think she was the devil, but
she was the eighth. She was the eighth etching or whatever, and she's riding the dragon,
the horse thing or dragon.
No,
yeah.
the dragon. The dragon represents Dean Corso because he's the bringer of Satan, of devil, and they constantly having smoking. So the smoke he was blowing out of his nose. The reason is because it wanted to resemble a dragon. But I agree with you on all that. There was two people that stood out to me, but they were the two main. To reference one of the pages in the book, the two main chess players, because there's an image of a king and a boy playing chess, and it always seemed like Boris Balkan was one step ahead of Dean Corso's in this movie. Like he was always right behind his tail, but one step ahead. So that was another page I was in there. So those are the two main guys. The character development, it was Johnny Depp going from being this Slimer to this guy interested in seeing where it led and not being interested in money anymore. So they do develop him. It's just kind of so subtle, right? I get that. So
Jay, where do you rate this?
I gave it another 3. But I will say one thing though, like what Kirk, like just alluding off of what Kirk said a few seconds ago with the character and the showing the dragon and her like how she was riding. Yeah,
she was riding him.
She rode him at the end of the movie too. So
yeah, well, no, that was supposed to be the end. That was one of the last pages of the.
Yeah, she rode the shit out of him.
So I'm a 5 again. I think, like I said, the acting is really good. In my opinion, I think a lot of it's good. It's just I don't relate to anything here because nobody makes a decision that I would ever make in my life, and the character development isn't that great. But I think you hang your hat on acting in this, and especially with this long of a movie, if the acting's bad, I mean, it could get ugly quick. So, Kirk, where do you land?
Yeah, so I agree with most everything you're saying, Mike. I'm slightly higher than you. I'm a 6. I thought Boris Balkan, I loved his character. I love that kind of ominous force playing in the background. And when he shows up on screen, I felt like he owned the screen. So I ticked it up just a little bit more.
All right. So that takes us to act number 3, which is visual appeal. And what do we like to talk about here, Kirk?
Yeah, so I think the movie looks nice. I think the multiple countries, you feel like they're actually doing the filming in these location sets. It's not like made up to look like France or made up to look like Spain or any of the different places you go. So it felt like late 90s Europe or California or wherever it was with Balkan at the beginning. So I thought all that looked nice. That being said, the effects don't really last. Her floating down the stairs, I've made fun of that even from the first day I've seen this movie. It was silly. The green eyes looked good, but there was just some effects that just didn't work well. But I think the look of the movie was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't look to see did they film in other countries. If they didn't, they did an excellent job because right. I think that looks good. They didn't. I think all the special effects in the background are actually borderline hilariously bad. Like when they're in the car or on the motorcycle or whatever, it's terrible. Yeah. The scene where he and Balkan are talking at the beginning and you look out in the distance, the whole city or whatever, you can tell it's just a painted background and it looks like it doesn't look bad, but it just looks obvious. I'll tell you what saved this movie for me is actually the ending. The fire was fire. It looks good. It looks good in the background. And even when they walk towards the end and the flashing lights and zooming in and out of the pages, I think that saves this movie. Because without that, I think I would have been so much lower than where I ended up. But I do think throughout the movie, like the sets look good. They do look good for what they are.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And one other thing, I don't know if you guys caught this or not. I had to rewind this 3 times because I thought, with me not feeling good, maybe it just was something that was an illusion. But the part at the end when Johnny Depp, confronts Boris Balkan, and he has that old coffee remember the old coffee mugs that used to take to work or whatever?
Yeah.
He was
which
pouring,
you put soup in.
Yeah. He turned it over to pour something in his glass. Well, the funny thing was, it was still pouring when he was done.
I saw that. I wrote that down, that he, that it was still,
I missed that one.
Like for an extra second, the fluid is still coming
pouring
out after he took it away.
I'll have to rewind that one.
Well, he already laid it back down on the table, and you still see liquid going from the.
I'm glad you brought that up because I
I
forgot to mention that.
Yeah, so I saw that, and I'm just like, oh god, these fucking effects are terrible.
It's late '90s, and I feel like most everything late '90s, the VFX or the CGI effects were just trash, and you could tell when they're riding in a car or he's on the back of a boat when he's switching his head over to either side of her helmet and just the background, it looks like a big TV behind him.
Yeah.
Like
now I will say this. The best part for me of this movie was the cinematography. I think, Darius Kanji, who did the cinematography for this, he did a lot of stuff back in the 90s, 80s, 70s, did a lot of things for Polanski, things like that. But I thought the cinematography kind of came out a little bit more in this movie. So I was kind of impressed with that. I do like some of the sceneries, backgrounds, although most of them are fake. It just, it made things look like, I did like the fact when he walked up, when he found that when he went to the castle, when he was walking up the mountain and that background, I thought that was beautiful. The fire in the background, that final scene off coming out of the castle when, he was getting ridden like a horse. But
you really like to keep mentioning that scene over and over and over.
It was the best part of the movie, to be honest with you. So I mean, it was
so
you said so yourself.
So no, I didn't say. I just said there was one scene I liked. For rating, this will start with me here. So on rating, I give visual appeal 5. I think the movie it looks good. Where it's bad, it's like I said, it's hilariously bad. If it wasn't for the third act, this might have been like a 3. I think that's probably as low as I would have went here, but they redeemed themselves in that third act, getting it back up to a 5 for me. Kirk, where are you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, I think with the multiple sets, the multiple countries, the overall appeal of everything that looked, the rundown mansions, all that, I thought it looked great, but the effects were horrendous. I'm with you with there. They didn't age well. I remember in 1999, I was like, I'm loving this movie. But then she floats down the stairs. I'm like, all right, well, we're just going to have to ignore that part. So that was bad. So I'm right with you. 5. I gave it a 5 out of 10. I think the CGI brings it down, and what they put in camera brings it up. So it's just stuck in the middle.
Well, I guess it's 3 5s here because I as well gave this a 5. Like I said, I love the cinematography in this. The effects are extremely outdated and horrendous, but there were a few things that were kind of cool.
Bartender, 5s all around. All right, so coming to act numero 4, number 4, is a little thing we like to call sound design. And sound design is basically everything that has to deal with the sound in the movie, from soundtrack to the dubbing and the audio and the mixing. So I'll start on this one here. I think, Kirk, you hit the nail on the head. The phone stuff was very hard to follow. Now, luckily, I use closed captions, so I was able to hear that. I think other than that, the audio was fine. The problem I come into this is actually the music throughout the movie. And it's more because we are running a horror podcast here, and the music that they chose, like the saxophones and whatever, was like almost like a comedy crime thing, like that, like from like a Beverly Hills Cop or from a.
I read that different.
It felt like one of those like 1990s or 80s, just like crime, slightly comedy, you know what I mean, like thing. Yeah. And that's, to be honest with you, I think it is kind of like an adventure crime mystery movie. I think that's what they were going for. You know what I mean? I think horror is a part of this, right? Because the whole thing's about the devil and, all of that. But I think that's what they're going for. But the problem is I'm viewing this as like, I want it to be a horror movie. And when that music's playing and there's car chase scenes or wherever, it takes me straight to, this is just a fun, adventure treasure hunt. And that's kind of where I fell on it.
Yeah, I will piggyback off that completely. At first I was thinking, hey, the score, it adds a little bit to the atmosphere in some areas and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cool, but it was very hokey and not horror. I had that written down, and I also wrote down, it kind of reminded me of something like I would hear out of like Matlock or something like that, some kind of detective show, Sherlock Holmes, type thing. It wasn't really anything that like, when I hear music and I think horror, I want something that's going to be suspenseful, something that's going to tie the scene, tie the movie, tie everything with the character, with everything. And I didn't get that on that. So I was really
This is the same guy who defended Iron Maiden in Phenomena, but that's cool. I see. I agree with what you guys are saying. The
I was actually talking about Goblin.
Oh, Goblin. So the sound effect, the score at the beginning was more kind of that adventure, that saxophone type thing. But I thought at times they ramped it up just a touch.
Towards
I agree with you.
The end, there are a couple random, but it's random. It's not. They go back to the saxophone.
I felt like it was, the score was kind of following Johnny Depp, because at the time of watching it, I was thinking they were trying to turn up the anxiety of him being maybe chased, or that guy still waiting outside the cafe. It was just turned up the tempo of it just a little bit out of whack of that normal song. And then when stuff was happening normal day to day, it does sound like that kind of. I never thought about what you said. I said interesting take only because I kind of see how you drew those lines. I like the score. I like that kind of ticked up a little bit. I do have an issue with, there was a lot of strong accents, which, hey, if you haven't found out by now, I struggle with strong accents. I had my closed captions going on. And then when Boris Balkan's talking over the phone, it's just, he's trying to do this macabre, deep sounding, and it's hard to kind of follow. If you don't have closed captions on it, you're going to miss probably a few of the things he said. I get why they were having him talk that way, because they're trying to make him like this uninterested character in the back, but I don't think it played off right that way. So, though that was a problem, I did kind of like the score. It sounds like a little bit better than yours, but I understand where you guys are coming from.
So, Kirk, what do you give the score?
Yeah, so I mean, my original, when I watched this 20 years ago, I loved the score, and it's kind of ticked down over time so I'm right at average. So I'm at a 5. Right. The whole score, the whole sound design, the whole mixing. So I'm throwing everything in.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's sound design, right? Yeah. That's the whole kit and caboodle, as they say. Jay, where do you land?
I gave it a 3. Like I said, it just fell short for me. Like I said, it tied a little bit to the atmosphere at times, but that would be about it. Mike?
So I'm right there with one of you guys, and Kirk, it's you. I'm a 5 again on this. The sound is not terrible, and even like the music that's playing, it's fine. I think it does match the movie. It's just
it definitely matches.
It changes the vibe of the movie. Like that. This is why sound design is so important, and we talk about it every single week because it really can add or throw off a little bit. And I think it's fine for this movie. It's just like I said. It takes me on an adventure, and
right. I mean, that's the whole time I was thinking this. I was thinking this is fine. This is good. It's fine. It works. So that's a 5.
Yeah,
that's
I'm with you. It's average. It's just right in the middle. It's Jason does not agree, but I can understand why Jason does not agree, because I think I could have
went in a
different direction too. So on this, which takes us to our 5th and final act that we like to review, which is Carnage. And Jason, what does Carnage mean?
So basically with Carnage, this is where we like to talk about the kills, the mayhem. Are you entertained? The fun value with this movie and stuff like that. And I'll kind of kick this off here real quick. So, I mean, obviously we talked earlier in my prelude, there was 7 kills in this movie, right? Thank you, Kirk, for shouting those out, what they were, because I forgot completely what they were, except for a couple of them. But I will say the guy that was hanging, that was part of one of the pages, the guguy was hanging by his foot too.
The figure 4.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. But I felt they were eerie. The mayhem, there's a lot of weird shit going on throughout the movie. So I guess you could kind of allude that a little bit to some mayhem and stuff. And question is, did I have fun during this?
I know you did.
We
during
know
one
that
part.
Answer. We did it. Yeah.
He did during one part.
Yes.
I mean, I think the fun is actually the strength of this movie. It is a fun, like, I cared to find out what happened at the end. I enjoy an adventure, a treasure hunt, just like any, you know what I mean? So like, I had already figured out like very early that all 3 books would equal 1. Like, I think like that, I didn't need the story to go that way, but like the deaths I thought were kind of dumb and hokey on all of them. You know, the one that I actually found creepy for a second is the Baroness in the wheelchair, and she's running into the wall, and you know she's dead. But when they turn her around and her tongue is sticking out, and they make it so hokey, I thought that actually took away. Like if they would have had like a creepy face there, I think that's something that could have elevated the film. But instead, they took something scary that was kind of like ominous and creepy, and they turned it dumb. Like to have the tongue sticking out.
I disagree with you on that. The tongue sticking out seemed realistic to me. Like I feel like that's what somebody would do if you just strangled them from behind real hard. So I don't know. I read that one different. That's a little interesting. But I think overall, the carnage of the movie, there are deaths kind of littered into this, but I feel like those are more story beats than part of the mayhem. So there are deaths in there, but I think that's more of a story driver.
Yeah, but that's why I didn't mind seeing the guy just being drowned, and you don't see him drowned. And the girl in the wheelchair, you said she was strangled. How do you know she was strangled? You have no clue.
She had the thing around.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Okay, I didn't even see anything around her neck.
She had her tongue sticking out of her mouth.
No, I saw the tongue. I just didn't see anything around her neck. I probably because I was laughing at the tongue, but.
And then her little wheelchair drove over and she caught fire and was lit on fire.
Into
the
room,
which is funny. But that was another page on there too. That was the two keys page because there's two guards at the door and the dog staring at him and that dog was staring at him at the end. So that was another
how come
page.
He was never wanted for murder at any point in time when
I know.
Barreling out the door. They know who he is, and she.
Well, clearly he had the devil protecting him.
I clearly, I guess, but
and
nothing about this movie you can say clearly. There's literally nothing you can say clearly on in this movie.
No, you clearly saw her boobs.
Well, they bounced up, and I mean, but yes, okay.
But overall, the kills, the mayhem, the fun of this movie. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's Johnny Depp doing his. I think that's his best era. I think that right into that Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. I think that's where he's
just
best.
throwing some random shit out there to see what stuck and seeing the movie.
And how that man survived through all those cigarettes he probably ended up smoking during this movie because he's smoking the entire movie. So that means he's probably smoking 7 other cigarettes during the filming.
Yeah, but you don't know that he's smoking actual. They could just have him smoking something.
They could have been those fake cigarette things. But
but knowing Johnny Depp, those
most
are
likely
probably
yes.
real.
But,
probably,
that's a fact that we don't have.
I mean, I like the scene where he strangles the one wife out with the pentagram sticking into her throat. I thought that was kind of cool. The sex scene at the end, I felt like that had a lot of energy to it. I thought that was fun. I thought the carnage is it just had energy, and you could hear the score kind of bounce up, which I thought was fun. And then you kind of get that ambiguous ending, which I know you guys don't like, but it kind of is like, what'd he do? What happened? There's theories here, theories here. It just kind of left it open, which I thought was kind of
2 hours and 15 minutes into a movie. I don't need something left open unless there's a gate or the 9th gate, unless there's a 10th gate. And, there's something in there. Her sleeping with him at the end doesn't even make any sense. Like, nothing makes sense.
It was one of the pages.
I think that would have been good with fourth gates.
Let's say he would have gone through those doors, turned around, he would have had the power of the devil. And
did what with it?
Well, that's the point.
Does he go to hell?
There's nothing.
Does he come back to Earth?
There's nothing they could have showed us in the style of that movie that would have been better. So leaving it ambiguous, I think, was the better play. You're explaining it.
You're probably right of leaving ambiguous, but
it's frustrating.
But then that's bad writing. Like they had no idea how to end the movie, so they just ended it.
But there's plenty of movies that leave open endings. Isn't that how Rosemary Baby ended too? So maybe this is a Roman Polanski thing. Maybe
it is. I never saw Rosemary's Baby.
It really was. No, you got a point there.
All right, so let's talk a little rating with Carnage now. And Jay, you get to kick us off here. Where do you rank this?
I gave this one a 5. It had 7 kills in it. It was eerie. The fun was fun. But it was very boring. So that's why I gave it midway.
I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. The fun was fun. The fun. I'm a 5 as well, Jay. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't know if I could put it so eloquently.
You said this is the strength of the movie, and then you gave it the same rating as you did like almost everything else.
I said this was actually I gave it the exact same rating as everything.
You did say strength.
I said one of the strengths of this movie was the fun. Unfortunately,
I thought for sure I'd get a 6 out of you. I thought I'd squeeze a 6 out of you.
The fun is part of it, right? Like the kills, the mayhem. There wasn't, in my opinion, much of any of that, but it was fun. The fun's probably worth like 3 to 4 in this, and then I give ones and little here. I'm very, to be honest with you, this is very honest right here of everything that I'm given. So Kirk, give us your honest opinion.
I feel like I'm being pretty honest with mine too. I'm a tick higher than you guys, but I'm a tick higher than Mike. I'm not a tick higher than Jason. This is the one where I divulge a little bit from you guys. I gave this a 7 because I do like the way this movie kind of wrapped up. I do enjoy the ending of this movie. I do like the entirety of this movie. I like following these characters. It's just something I've liked for 25 years probably.
You do know I gave this a 5, right?
He said, you said one tick
I said
up.
I divulged.
You said a tick up, but you were 2 ticks up. But it's close enough.
Yeah. This is the one I separate from you guys. I've been
Wait,
really
no,
close
but you said you were 1 tick up from Mike and a couple more from Jason. I'm like, I gave it the same score as Mike.
No. I was talking about as a whole. So you were giving 3s, he was giving 5s, and I was at 6s. So there was okay. I was close to me and Mike were actually this portion of the score is going to be pretty close to each other.
I'm curious here. So I'm starting to add up our scores, but what we always like to do is throw out a little bonus opportunity here of positive or negative. So anything you guys want to give this movie before I give us our final ratings?
Here comes Jason.
I do.
What do you here? Let me preface this. Jason, what do you want to take away from this movie?
I am taking 1 point away from this movie for not being a horror movie.
It's a horror movie. There's
it
something
is
the devil.
Not even close to being a horror movie.
See, you think this is less of a horror than Spring?
Absolutely.
You're crazy. I don't even know if you know what horror is. Can you
I
spell horror?
I agree. I agree with. I won't say it's less of a horror movie than Spring, but if it's not less, it's equal at best for Ninth Gate.
They're summoning the devil,
and the girl's a freaking monster. That she's
not a monster
into.
Though. She is genetics.
She is okay.
Genetics. My ass. She's been alive for 2,000 years.
Which they attributed to genetics.
Sure.
Oh dear Lord.
It was handed down from her mom.
Kirk,
it does.
Bonus
all right, so
or not bonus here.
Here's the other. I'm doing a bonus. I'm doing a rather large bonus. I love this movie. There's a lot of nostalgia from this. I've seen this movie probably 100 times. I judged it as fairly as I could on some of the beats, and I don't think me and Mike. I don't think we were too far off. I did score a few things, so I gave it a full 10. Johnny Depp deserves it for the amount of cigarettes he smoked in this. Right? It was unreal.
Wow.
It must be a Kirk movie.
Wow.
It is a Kirk movie. I love
that's why we're scoring it high.
No. I gave it I scored the rest of all the 5 acts as if I was a reviewer. The bonus I'm giving from nostalgia and my love of the movie. So
all right.
I'm being fair.
Better than Galaxy of Terror?
This is way better than Galaxy. I gave Galaxy of Terror like a 5. But I still like Galaxy Terror. That's a guilty pleasure. That is a guilty pleasure. I get it. I love that movie, and I will always love that.
All right,
movie.
I'll probably watch it.
So with the way that we,
if you're a horror fan and don't have terrible movies you love, you're not a true horror fan.
I'm
sorry.
You're right.
That's 100%. Or you didn't.
You're right. 100%.
You didn't grow up in the 80s. So this is we're all over the board here. So Kirk, we'll start with you. You come in the very highest at a 6.8. On our scale here. You're a 29 out of 50 on the...
So it's a 5.8,
which is 5.8. You gave it the 10-point bump, which takes us to a 6.8, right?
Yep.
I had no bonus here, so I was 5s all across the board. So I was a 25 out of 50. That equals a 5.0 for those scoring.
So would you say I fairly represented this movie? Before the bonus, you were at a 5.0, I'm at a 5.8. I like it a little bit better than you.
This is the only thing I would say is what you destroyed a movie for last week, you gave all the props in the world this week too, and that is the only category that I look at it and go, you were as biased as could be in that category, or you were wrong last week, or you're wrong this week. There's no, in my opinion, you have to be wrong on one of the two.
Yep.
But why? No, I can be right.
You gave
on
a
both.
1 last week for the reason that you gave it a 6 this week.
But this, I think, is more of a horror movie. I know what I gave the score as, but this is 100% more of a horror movie than Spring.
All right. Listen, that is where we agree. Right. For the whole movie, I was watching this going, I'm waiting to see Kirk's 1 or a 2 in the story.
Real quick,
Devil.
I will say this. all of the like Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, the things that I read last week and this week. Last week it had horror in it. This week it did not.
They're summoning the devil.
It doesn't matter.
Listen,
That
let's keep
matters.
going. Let's keep going. We're working
Hold
our
on,
way down.
One more. I gave Spring a 4.8. I gave this a 5.8. I just gave it one full point better.
Listen, I'm not talking about anything other
Talking
than
about story
where
beats.
you literally
I hit
annihilated
that
a
one
movie. And if I cared enough about the editing, I would literally take your words from last week and insert them right here.
It wasn't a horror movie. It's a love story. It's a romance.
And this is a treasure hunt, but it's okay.
That's summoning the devil.
Jason was an 18 out of, was a 19 out of 50, and then he
3.8.
subtracted 1. So it takes us to a 3.7 is where Jason lands on this. So we're kind of all over the board here. It is a pretty hefty thing. 6.8 for Kirk, 5 for me, 3.7 for Jason. At the end of the day, I actually still was entertained. Jay, you said you were very bored through this movie. I wasn't. I found it like it was a fun, adventurous movie.
I was not entertained.
I still was entertained.
He was entertained at one point. I promise you, he was entertained at least for about 35 seconds.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
If Jason had a DVD copy, if you lifted up the bottom, it would be worn out in one area. But
you need a record for that.
Yeah.
But
at least I entertained you for 35 seconds.
Yeah, it's about.
I'll give you that.
About how long it was.
Yeah.
That's why I gave it a 5 on that last one.
So guys, I love to hear what some of the listeners think of this movie out there as well. But that puts a nice little bow on the 9th gate. There are no 10th gates, so this is it. We've passed through the final gate, and I think it's time to take a look at next week and take a ride on the Devil's Wheel. All right, for our Devil's Wheel portion of events, here's the breakdown. First, it's a mixture of us all putting 3 movies on the wheel, broken down of 2 movies that we throw on there and one that we've never seen before. Then we sprinkle in a Devil's Pick, which is our 10th slot. And that one, if it lands on, it's crapshoot. Kirk goes to a generator, and whatever it lands on, as long as we haven't seen the movie before, we got to watch it. And then starting this year, we now have a winner of the month, and Jason won February 3-1. January. See, I got it mixed up earlier in the show, and now I got mixed up again.
Yeah.
So I'll take February too.
Jason won January 3-1 because Kirk was able to sneak this one in to stop the clean sweep. But Jason gets an extra slot on the wheel this week because for the entire month of February. So we'll see. Now this kicks off February. We'll see who's going to get the extra slot for March. Fingers crossed. I'll just at least win 1 week. But that is
not probably going to happen.
That is our Devil's Wheel breakdown. There's 11 slots. But Kirk, we're coming to you first because you won last week and we're the only one obligated to make a change. What are your 3 movies?
Yeah, 2 of mine are staying the same. So I still going to have Death Note from 2017 and The Empty Man from 2020. Empty Man I haven't seen yet, and I'm replacing The Ninth Gate with a relatively new movie, Mike. You might like this. Mandy from 2018. So Nicolas Cage at his best.
Oh, Mandy.
All right. I will go next here, and I'm keeping my 3 movies the same. So PG, Psycho Gorman.
You should just put that on there 3 times for Jason.
Strangers Pray at Night. First, I can't put it on there 3 times because I've seen it.
At least twice.
And my 3rd movie for what I have never seen before is 13 Ghosts. Jason, you have 4 slots out there. So give us your 3, and then what did you do for the 4th?
Woo! All right. So I kept all 3 on here. So we got Chud from 1984, Street Trash I have not seen from 1987, and X from 2022. And we doubled up on X. I want to double up on X. I want to review this one because
hold on.
We got Maxine coming soon.
You need to pull one of those movies off and put it up X a 3rd time so you can have a triple X.
Ooh,
you did miss out. You did miss out on being able to say that.
Ooh.
But he's got a Dos
and Maxine is coming out XXX.
He's got a Dos Equis going on right now. So all that's left to do is spin the wheel.
Spin that wheel, DJ.
It is spinning. I want to win 1.
Don't be Jason. Don't be Jason. Am I saying this out loud? Crap.
Don't be Kirk.
I'm way behind you, man.
Well, one of you guys was right of who it shouldn't be. I can tell you it was not a me victory again, but Kirk has now doubled it up.
Mandy.
And we are going to be watching Mandy next week. What year is Mandy from?
2018.
2018. So Kirk is now not only won back-to-back weeks, but he is now up 1-0 in February.
February, here I come.
And this could be your month, Jason. That extra slot did not help you this week, but it didn't help me in any way, shape, or form either. But we will.
I'm just hoping to get a good score from Jason. I think he's going to like this one.
Mandy?
Have you seen
I haven't
Mandy?
seen this. I haven't seen this.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I do want to see this. So
it's Nick Cage, so that's
excited.
an instant 6. So we just have to work past that 6.
Listen, we are going to reconvene, same bat time, same bat channel for next week, and decide how we feel about Mandy, and Nicolas Cage for that matter. So I don't know. We'll figure this out. But that's it for episode. I can't even believe we've done 150 episodes. At least Jason.
Yeah,
I can say that too. Kirk. You're part of this train.
I'm
that's
like 40.
You're around 40. That's about right. We're
a third of the way.
We're in season 4 now, so it's crazy to think about this, but we appreciate everybody, whether this is the first episode or you've been rocking with us for all 150. We greatly appreciate it. If you're newer to the podcast, make sure you go on, listen to all the old ones, and if you have Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5 stars and a review. It does mean a lot. If you're looking to talk with us, give us movies for the wheel, a part in the tear segment, or anything that you want to talk about. There's 3 main ways that you can do business with us. One is we have a YouTube channel which just passed how many subscribers, Kirk? What do we got on there now?
1,030.
Over 1,000 subscribers on there. So we greatly appreciate that. Make sure you like and leave a comment on any of the videos. That always helps. Instagram, go to MVJ Horrorcast on Instagram. You can leave us notes there. The main way we always like to talk to all our listeners and fans out there, and really just to have a community feeling, is our MVJ Horrorcast Facebook group. So you can definitely talk to us throughout. But listen, we greatly appreciate it. And I mean, we have gates. Next week we have cages. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait for walls and whatever else comes next. But
Let's lock up this podcast.
Yes. Until next time, my friend.